Hey everyone, today we're comparing the Beatbot iSkim and the Aiper Surfer S2. Both of these robotic pool skimmers were provided for us to check out and compare. So let's take a look at both of these and see what the differences actually are. We're going to look at cleaning performance, maintenance, basket size, smart features, and battery life. Before we get started, it's important to mention that no robotic pool skimmer is perfect. You're still going to have to empty the basket, and every now and then you may still need to skim the pool manually, especially after a storm or when a lot of debris ends up in the pool. These aren't designed to completely eliminate pool maintenance. They're designed to help keep the surface cleaner and reduce how often you have to deal with it. So let's see how these two compare. At first glance, both of these products look great coming out of the box. You can tell both companies put a lot of thought into the overall design and build quality. Both are built to solve the same problem. They float on the surface of your pool and collect leaves, bugs, pollen, hair, grass clippings, and other debris before it sinks to the bottom. Many of you are used to spending time walking around the pool with a skimmer net. Both of these products are designed to automate that job. Both are solar powered, both connect to an app, both can help reduce manual skimming. One thing we liked about the Aiper right away was its simplicity. Setup was straightforward, the controls were easy to understand, and it felt like something most pool owners could get up and running pretty quickly. The Beatbot feels more like a feature-packed smart skimmer, while the Aiper focuses on the basics and keeping things easy to use. But none of that really matters if they don't do a good job keeping the pool clean. The good news is both skimmers did a solid job collecting everyday debris from the pool surface. The things we talked about earlier, leaves, bugs, hair, any kind of floating debris that ends up on the surface of your pool, they were all handled well during testing. Neither one left the impression that the pool still needed to be manually skimmed every day. If we had to pick a winner in this category, it would be the Beatbot. Not because the difference was huge, but because a bunch of small things started to add up. One thing we noticed was how each skimmer handled obstacles around the pool. The Beatbot generally did a better job recognizing walls, handrails, and other obstacles, then adjusting its path and continuing to clean. The Aiper occasionally spent more time working around those obstacles or lingering in certain areas before moving on. During testing, the Beatbot also seemed better able to work its way into all areas of the pool, while the Aiper occasionally spent more time fighting current from the return jets. In one of the tests, the Aiper never actually made it all the way into the shallow end because it kept working against the current from the return jets. Both skimmers did a good job reducing the amount of manual skimming required. The differences weren't huge, but there were a few things that seemed to work in the Beatbot's favor. Another area where there was a noticeable difference was maintenance. Both skimmers reduced the amount of manual skimming that needed to be done. Neither one was difficult to use. One thing that became pretty obvious during testing was that the Beatbot seemed a little more hands-off. Whether it was checking status, retrieving the unit, or simply keeping an eye on things, it generally seemed to require less messing with. The Aiper was still easy to use, but the Beatbot seemed to spend less time getting hung up on walls, handrails, and other obstacles around the pool. Part of that came from how it handled those obstacles. During testing, it generally recovered quickly when it ran into walls, handrails, and other pool features. Both products helped cut down on the amount of manual skimming, but this was another category where the Beatbot did a little better. Another thing to talk about is the basket size. The Beatbot iSkim has a 9-liter debris basket. The Aiper Surfer S2 has a 4-liter debris basket. So the Beatbot has more than double the capacity. The Beatbot also has a noticeably larger intake opening, giving it a larger area to capture floating debris as it moves around the pool. That's something that was easy to see when the two skimmers were side by side. Now, whether this matters depends on your pool. If you don't get much debris, it may not be a big deal. But if you have trees around your pool like this one does, deal with heavy pollen, or regularly collect leaves and bugs, that extra capacity can mean less emptying and less messing with the skimmer. The larger basket and larger intake opening were two of the biggest advantages of the Beatbot. Now let's talk about some of the extra features. Both products offer app connectivity, allowing you to monitor and manage a skimmer from your phone. Both apps worked well and were easy to navigate. If you're someone who prefers fewer settings and a more straightforward experience, you may actually prefer the simpler approach that Aiper takes. One feature that the Beatbot offers that the Aiper does not is smart docking. This allows the iSkim to move to a designated retrieval area when you're ready to pull it out of the pool. At first, smart docking didn't seem like a feature that would matter all that much, but after seeing it in action, it was actually pretty convenient. It simply made retrieval easier because you knew exactly where to find the skimmer when it was time to pull it out of the pool. Again, not a huge deal, but it was something we liked. Another area that we looked at was battery life and charging. Both products rely heavily on solar charging, so reliability is important. Both units performed well during testing and did what they were supposed to do. Both companies have clearly put a lot of effort into maximizing solar charging and keeping their skimmers running using available sunlight. One thing that stands out in the specs is battery capacity. The Beatbot uses a 10,000 mAh battery, while the Aiper uses a 5,200 mAh battery. That said, both products are designed to operate continuously using solar charging. So, in day-to-day use, both are intended to stay in the pool and keep working around the clock. Both products also offer a secondary charging method in addition to solar charging. The Beatbot uses a magnetic wireless charging system, while the Aiper includes adapter charging. Both apps are easy to use, and the Beatbot app provides additional battery information and long-term battery health tracking features that could be useful over time. When you combine the larger battery capacity, battery health tracking features, and the magnetic wireless charging system, there were a few advantages that worked in the Beatbot's favor in this category. Another difference between the two is a warranty. The Beatbot iSkim includes a 3-year warranty. The Aiper Surfer S2 includes a 2-year warranty. Whether that matters is up to you, but it's something to keep in mind. After comparing both skimmers, it's pretty clear that both products do what they're designed to do: help keep debris off the surface of your pool and reduce the amount of manual skimming required. Now, to be fair, the Aiper has some strengths of its own. The setup was simple, it was easy to operate, and it consistently collected debris throughout testing. For a lot of pool owners, that may be all that you're looking for. The Aiper performed well during testing. For this pool, the Beatbot iSkim makes more sense because of the larger 9-liter basket, larger intake opening, better obstacle handling, stronger performance around the return jet currents, and the potential for fewer basket empties over time. If this video is helpful to you, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching.